So I am interviewing Carol Blackman at the Virginia Gallian School. Today is March the 12th, 2015. And you are the assistant coordinator, is what that says.
Yes.
Okay, so essentially, I just want to get a feel of how the operation works here and what kind of tasks that you do.
Okay.
So first question I have for you is kind of based on behaviors. What do you feel is the most important thing that you do every day?
Support the teams in whatever they need.
Mm-hmm.
Helping them.
And the team being like all the teachers and everything like that.
And Mr. B.
Mr. B, yeah. And what is the most important thing you've done in the past? Be it here or with other facilities or anything.
In the field, I assume.
Sure, yeah.
Well, I was on the DAYC board and I helped do their training.
Oh, okay.
For the year, and that was really good.
DAYC, what is that?
Denton Area Association for the Education of Young Children.
Oh, okay.
It's a local area chapter for Macy.
Oh, okay.
But there's a lot of things. Most important is hard to pick.
You can list more than one. There's no.
I've been in the field for over 25 years. So
oh, wow.
There's a lot of stuff I've done. Well, one thing I've been working on in the last 10 years or 6 years is really focusing on behavior management.
Okay.
And children these days seem to have more behavior challenges, it seems.
Sure.
In my career, I've seen more
Mm-hmm.
often that there's children with behavior management problems. And in my own personal life, my children have some challenges. And so I've done a lot of research on all of that and how to do it. What are different ways besides let's stick them in timeout?
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of research on that
Mm-hmm.
and try to bring that to our program and how to help us have better behavior management skills than a typical daycare.
Right.
Which we don't consider ourselves daycare.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, because it's a child development center, right?
Right.
That's what it's
Yeah.
called. And so, what do you think? What do you attribute to the more behavior problems?
Really, I don't know. Maybe culture. Maybe.
Yeah.
Just parents are more stressed.
Mm-hmm.
Puts the stress on the children and increases their cortisol levels.
Yeah.
Stress in pregnancy can cause increased cortisol levels.
Yeah.
And so that can be a big hindrance. Even though the mom's a great mom and can't wait to have this baby, she's nervous about it or whatever. Maybe financial problems, maybe marital problems, maybe whatever, is going on. And they're not bad people because of that. It's just life is stressful.
Yeah.
And it feeds over to the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot different these days than it was.
Yeah. Like
20 years ago or 10 years ago even. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That I could sit and have a conversation about. I think that stuff is fascinating.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so what do you think needs to be changed in your job? Or is there anything?
I love my job.
Good. I love to hear that. Especially with me going into it. Like, hey, I like to hear that.
No, and this is the best place I've ever worked. Hugh and I are a team.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't treat me like I'm a assistant because I've been a director I've got 12 years experience as a director. I've worked in corporate childcare with corporate corporations, doing assessments and needs developments and developing new centers. So I have a lot of experience, so I wouldn't be able to work somewhere that they didn't respect my previous, and I chose to be the assistant so I could focus on my family.
Oh, that's right.
And so anyway.
Yeah, no, that's smart.
Not that I had the choice to be the director here, don't take me wrong there, but I'm just saying it's nice to be a team and he respects me and I respect him, and we hopefully have created the program together.
Right.
So I think we both have a lot of the same philosophy and background, which is hard to find.
Yeah.
We aren't typical. I mean, I think we have very high quality standards, and we actually try to implement what we learned in school.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something that always happens, because in childcare a lot of the times you're just trying to make budget.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we've been able to get the program to that point, so that's good. But we're not expected to make a ton of money.
Right.
So if we were expected to make a ton of money, that'd be harder.
But the quality is there, and that's what really counts.
That's what I really.
Yeah.
I wish we could go for NACE accreditation, but it costs a lot of money.
That's what I've heard.
There's struggles with getting. We have a lot of degree teachers, but you have to have at least your lead has to have a degree or at least a CDA in every classroom. And like our Room 6 teacher, she did everything but the final step of getting her CDA. But she's a phenomenal teacher.
That's Heather?
Yeah.
I love, I observed with her, love that classroom.
So she doesn't have a piece of paper, so NACE wouldn't recognize that she's the kind of wonderful teacher she is.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah, and we have her do trainings, we put our name with her so that we can count it, but, I mean, she's phenomenal, and so that's a little frustrating that we can't, really, that's a limitation for achieving that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to get rid of Miss Heather to get NACE accreditation.
Exactly. Exactly. What are some things that you feel should always stay the same here?
The way we do our curriculum, the individualized curriculum that's focused on each child.
Oops. No, you're fine.
We have, we're very developmentally appropriate, hands-on, no worksheets, please no worksheets.
Yes.
And our staff get along really well. I've worked in programs where no matter how I tried, the staff just did not get along, and so that makes for everybody to be miserable.
Sure.
And there's only so much you can do as a manager.
Right.
Thankfully, we have pretty professional. Our team is professional. They're not. This isn't a job. This is a career.
Yes.
And so that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And then the parents, we have, working with teachers primarily. They respect us more, although sometimes they think they know more than us, which can be annoying. But they may be an expert at middle school, but we're experts at 3-year-olds.
Right.
So.
And there's a huge difference.
So we respect what you do. I don't want to teach middle school, and I don't think you want to teach 3-year-olds. So.
What do you feel that you are most passionate about in your job?
Doing what's best for the child. We always put that first when we're making a decision about anything we do. So, for instance, there was a recent situation with a family that was asking us to do something that it wasn't bad for the child, but the teachers didn't necessarily want to do it because it was extra work. And so we're like, okay, we got to find a balance here. What's best for the child, what's best for the family, and what's best for the classroom. Because we have more than one child, and we can't just stop everything and do what that parent wants. And so, in working with the families and seeing families grow, like we have a lot of babies that I've watched go all the way through and watching them grow up. It's a bittersweet kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. I would think so.
Last year was our first class where we had some that actually went all the way through and graduated. And it was bittersweet is the best way to say it. And my son next year is going to pre-K, so that'll be his last year here, and that will be more bittersweet. But
bring on the waterworks.
I think our program is small enough that we know everybody and we're able to build better relationships than in a big program.
Right. And how many students are here? Or how many children are here?
We currently have 68 enrolled.
68. What do you feel that you're least passionate about in the field?
How about something that frustrates me about the field, not our program?
Right, yeah.
Other programs that are trying to force the standards in a not developmentally appropriate way. The children are forced to sit in chairs and do worksheets and things like that are not developmentally appropriate.
Right.
And that I feel inhibit their excitement for learning.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
they're
gonna. They shouldn't even be doing that until 2nd or 3rd grade.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, I agree. I definitely agree with you. And what What's the first thing you hear whenever you arrive at work each morning?
Well, usually if I go in a classroom, it's Miss Carol, Miss Carol. Or usually I'm dropping off my son, so it's Caleb's here. He's kind of like in Cheers, you know, where everybody, it's funny.
Yeah. That's cute.
But, you know, when you walk in our program, one of us is going to greet you and say good morning. And we always try to be nice and try to make sure people feel welcome in our program.
Sure.
And hopefully that's the way people feel.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty quiet program. You don't hear a lot of screaming.
Really is
and that's
it really is.
Honestly, a medium roar is a good thing. Like a medium, just you can hear them playing, but there's no screaming. There's no teachers aren't yelling at them.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. And if I hear that, I get up and I go say, "Oh, what's going on in here?"
Yeah.
So
that's great. And what standards or policies do y'all follow?
Our goal is NACCE standards.
Okay.
So everything that we have developed is based on NACCE.
Okay.
If we went through NACCE standards, like if we were to go through accreditation, I think it wouldn't be that hard to get to the point where we are accredited, other than, like I said, the education of some of the teachers.
Right.
And then we see licensing standards as minimal.
Okay.
And so we do those better than most people. I mean, we are very, like licensing came Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't remember what day, Tuesday, and they didn't find anything. They gave us a technical assistance on a little thing. But so that would mean, okay, they're not going to show up for probably 3 to 6 months, so we could be easy on stuff. No,
yeah.
Those are our standards, and that's what,
right.
I mean, just the little things, like bleach bottles got done at 1 yesterday instead of at 3:30, so I have to remember that, so we make sure they're done because they're supposed to be done within 24 hours.
I see.
So, I mean, we just try to focus on all of those little things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's times when we mess it or something happens.
Sure.
We're all human.
Yeah.
But but we do our best, and we do self-reporting, so if like a child has to leave for medical help, they had to go get stitches or something, we call and we report it. And good. So a lot of programs don't do that, so if you go on the licensing thing and you see, oh, they don't have any problems, yeah, they just didn't do self-reports.
Yeah. I heard that somewhere. A teacher told me that one time, or a professor told me that if there's nothing, then that doesn't mean it's a good thing.
Right. And also when I was looking for my son, when he was a baby, because we didn't think we were going to get him in here, and because we adopted him and it was a surprise, and so
wow.
And so we were looking for care, and I was looking on the licensing website because there's no NACCE centers in the area. There's a NAC in Corinth, and UNT is NAC, and we've looked into that as well. But anyway, so I found this one, and I called our licensing person. I said, this place has no incidences. Is it worth me looking at them? You know, do I want to waste my time going over there and looking at them? And she's like, well, Carol, let me just say this because I can't say bad things, but they are allowed to close down and change their name, and then when they reopen, they have no violations.
Oh my goodness.
And she goes, but I did not say anything specifically about that program.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that was an option to do that. That's
apparently.
Crazy.
So I found that out, and I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's crazy.
Did I answer that question?
Yeah. No, it did. It
went on a rabbit trail.
Yeah, so, essentially you follow a NACCE standards, but y'all aren't accredited.
Right.
But you live up to this. I mean, I think that's great. What type of education or experience or certification do you need to do this job?
My job? I don't know if I think they wanted at least an associate's degree.
Okay.
I have a bachelor's.
Where did you go to school?
Stephen F. Austin.
Oh, okay.
A long time ago. And, yeah, It was just at least a bachelor's.
At least a bachelor's. What was your degree in?
Child development.
Child development, okay. And are there any special needs children here?
We have a child that we have 2 children that have speech, and we partner with Ann Wendell next door for that. And then we have one child that does have some emotional behavior needs, and so he goes next door for half of the day for a program.
Okay.
So
And
that's one blessing about being in the Denton ISD is that we can call and get assessed.
Right.
We talk to the parent first, of course, but we can get them assessed. Some parents are more willing than others, but it's better for the child to get it early than to wait till they're in kindergarten.
Sure. And who usually comes out and does the assessments?
Dr. Johnny Pettigrew, she's next door.
Okay, that sounds good.
And she does a lot of our trainings too.
Okay.
She's really good.
Okay.
She's actually a professor at TW.
Yeah, I was gonna say Pettigrew sounds really familiar to me.
I forgot what
don't
she
know.
does, but
I haven't taken her.
she's an adjunct professor there.
Okay. That's maybe why I haven't. And last thing, what do you feel like is your absolute most favorite thing about your job?
The kids.
The kids.
And honestly rocking the babies, and there's times when I'm like, okay, I'm having a really bad day, I'm gonna go rock some babies. And I do, and I walk in and I go, who needs rocking? And I rock some babiys.
Oh, that'd be amazing. There's nothing like rocking. I have 2 children, so there's nothing like rocking a baby.
Yeah,
It changes
like,
your whole
and it keeps me from wanting another one, so hey.
Exactly.
I get that filled and I'm good.
I have to say though, this center has been by far, I've viewed many centers and done observations at many centers, and this has been by far my most favorite.
Thank
because
you.
Y'all are, and I've just always been impressed, and especially with you and Mr. Bolton and Heather and Deanna. I mean, that's the only room I've been in, so I'm sure everyone is great, but the way that they ran their classroom I thought was phenomenal. So
Well, great. Thank you.
very patient. They paid attention. I mean, it's like they have eyes in the back of their heads. I guess what you have to at this point.
Yeah.
So
and
they
you
are
know
very
which
aware.
kids you've got to keep an extra eye on, and
the
which
kids
ones
were
are
precious, and they were all well behaved. I mean, and the way that they, handled any kind of problems was just. I was very impressed. It made me want. Oh man, I wish I could bring my children here, but I can't. So.
Why can't you?
Well, I don't live in Denton,
gotcha.
and I don't you have to be...
TWU students and employees can bring their children.
They can. I didn't know that. I thought it was just employees of Denton could...
No, Denton ISD is our number one, that's priority.
Okay.
And then after that, on an equal basis, is basically any city, county, state, U.S. government employee, and TWU and UNT and NCTC.
Oh, I had no
We
idea.
opened that up like 3 years ago because we weren't quite full, and so we're getting full with just Denton ISD now, but because they get the preference. But
Sure.
If we have an opening, we can give it to any of those criteria.
Well, now I know. Okay, that's all the questions I had for you. Do you have any questions for me? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, enjoy being in the field.